Please, everyone, welcome Mariusz Kaczkowski.
Thanks a lot. And thank you too for not leaving after the break. I know it's very late, everyone has been tired. It's been a long day. So I'm gonna try to make this presentation light and fun. Hopefully also insightful. So how many of you heard about vibe coding? Oh, that's a lot, because I thought this is like a kind of myth, you know, that people talk but nobody uses it or just making fun of it. But what's the truth? Let's see. But before, let me just introduce myself. So I'm Mariusz Kaczkowski. During the day, working as a staff engineer at Box. During the night, I'm vibe coding, or using AI to do stuff, playing around like since the early days of ChatGPT 3.0. So did some hobby projects with it. But I'm personally struggling a lot with this new AI and agents the most, because as a night coder, you know, very often I need to wait a couple of minutes before I get the response. And it happens to me several times that I just felt asleep. So this is kind of deal breaker for the founders like myself, or coders, because you are not in the flow, right? If you try it, you know what I'm talking. But I assume everyone has some experience with the AI, and I will not explain the basics. So I'm not gonna go deep, like into the details, how LLMs work, what is the agents, what are the tools. I want to talk more about vibe coding. But before, this is like my second time on the stage on WarsawJS. First one was 7 years ago. I was talking about performance on the web page. I took pride for every millisecond kilobyte I was able to like save. Finding all those advanced techniques, you know, for optimizations where I could get my hands on. It was very satisfying. It was not like very available back then, but now I think the AI has changed the ecosystem a lot. Now the learning curve for almost everything is not that steep as it was before. Now you can ask AI, this one or another, to like give you some hints, give you suggestions, or even implement the code by itself. So is it like there is no more fun for us, programmer, who's passionate about it? I have some concerns. Okay, so together with my assistant, let's call it AI, we want to like present you a nice presentation about handing over code ownership to AI. So it's gonna be a bit about like more feelings, philosophy a bit, and rebuilding web apps with vibe coding. We have only 20 minutes, but this topic could be, I think, could go through like a couple of workshops or like an entire series of meetings. Who knows? Maybe they're gonna be follow-ups. Let's see. Let's start. Yeah, so the vibe coders. Is it a thing, these vibe coders? What is it? I mean, is it a joke or not? I did a quick research, and to be honest, some people already like thinking about themselves considering a vibe coders. We even have some expert vibe coder on the bottom. I wonder what is the difference. But yeah, I even was able to find some job offers for vibe coders. So definitely a thing worth chasing and putting to your resume. All right, so let's maybe start with some success story. Because if there is no success, then we shouldn't bother at all. So I just collect a bunch of them. So first one, it's about like a guy, didn't have like experience in development. I think he's kind of like a celebrity on Twitter, but either way. He made a flying simulator, later added multiplayer with WebSockets. Eventually, he was pretty successful. I heard he earned like $500,000 with the users, so kind of hard to like imagine, but he claims that's true. Another one, that's rewrite a Chrome extension within 5 minutes without even looking at the code. I mean, sounds great, sounds neat. Why don't do this? Everybody should do it. Another one, like front-end devs, it's so over. We should like change jobs, right? We should find something else to do, because you can generate in one shot the entire landing page, entire apps, and that's basically true. I was able to do it with a bunch of models, like generate entire working application, mostly pure HTML and JavaScript. But why do we need frameworks if they are mostly like for the human, right? To have a more like maintainable code. If it's for AI, maybe we don't need it. And you know, with this kind of approach, We just need to go and build stuff in a matter of minutes and collect the money. It's so simple. I mean, we should try. But not everyone succeeds, because at some point, very often you will hit the wall. So here we have a guy that claimed that he built the app with the cursor, already have customers paying for it. Yeah, everybody should start building. But then, after some time, this guy was facing some random attacks from the user. Nobody knows who were attacking him. Probably jealous people, right? Maxed out usage on API, random things on the databases. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. So is it the fault of the AI, fault of the software engineers? I don't know, but anyway, it's not the way. I think the vibe coding by itself, it was, I think, this year from Andrej Karpathy, the co-founder of OpenAI, and I think the director of AI in Tesla. He came up with this tweet, which you can see, where he first time used this vibe coding term, explaining that it's like a new way of working. You can just talk, and I encourage you to talk with the AI. I think it's pretty neat. You can use Super Whisper or other tools. You don't need to check the code. You just go with the flow and have fun. Like, have more time to spend with your family, with your friends, chill, anything. Sounds great, yeah, but how does it work? What is it about? So long story short, it basically does those 4 steps. Of course, we could go deeper, distinguish more steps, but basically it's you describe what you want, then AI do the heavy lifting, then you need somehow to verify the changes, either with running locally, with your visual senses, or with the test that you will have written, or maybe I've written. AI maybe they will not write the test by itself if it's not asked. So it's up to you, or just believe it, or not. Or maybe your users will test. That's also an approach. And then you iterate over and over again, polish your application, adding new features. That's basically the story. And it is possible. It's not like it's made up. But there are some subtle gotchas, and it's not applicable to all applications, at least based on my experience. I did some extensive research, was able to generate kind of card games for my kid, with the one prompt, and she was playing for 1 hour. That was awesome, but another game was not working at all. Was looking, but didn't work. But models getting better and better every time. So maybe in 2 years from now, we're gonna have a totally different speech. Okay, what people think about vibe coding? Yeah, it's effective for straightforward tasks. Agree. Struggles with anything of moderate complexity. Like Thomas said before, it depends, as always. Allows me to complete tasks in a fraction of the time. Yeah, that's true. Depends on the tasks. Democratizing software creation in a precedence way. Totally. People that have different background. I think the entire vibe coding opens the door to all the designers, product managers, the people that know the business, that know what the user expects. So it's good for us engineers, just maybe a bit more learn about those stuff, because those are the skills that will be useful, embracing not only vibe coding, but I think there's new trends that are emerging. And make me so angry with writing hundreds of lines of code for simple stuff and making assumptions. That's also true. Again, depends on the model you use, depends on the prompt you use. But for normal usage, it's gonna happen a lot. That if you let AI go wild, it will do whatever it thinks you want without asking. Probably not a good idea. But also, what nobody is talking about, and I wanted to touch upon during this presentation, is that's how somehow this vibe coding transforms the developer's relationship with the code. Maybe I'm too sentimental here, but personally, I always I'm building some strong bonds, sense of ownership and craftsmanship with the code, with the lines I write. So every line I write myself. Even if I use Copilot or the auto-completion stuff, I know what I'm writing. I know what the code is about, and it's exactly most of the time doing what was intended to do. So right now, we are shifting slowly away from this approach. So more, it's we can observe this shift in valued skills are going to be needed. So from syntax knowledge and algorithms design to effective AI communication and project organization, the project, because if the project is simpler, easier to digest by AI, the better for the kinds of AI, because you should also, I think, educate in what the LMs are, what are the limitations, because this is not a true artificial intelligence. I'm sure everyone knows, but very often when I'm like mentoring my team, finding that the people don't really understand what the AI was designed to do and what are those limitations. So what can go wrong? Like, okay, I mean, maybe it will not work, we can fix it. I mean, AI can fix, but there are some other problems we can face. The first one, right? We can introduce lots of vulnerabilities, if not ask explicitly. Even if asked explicitly, it would be nice to know if the solutions that AI propose make sense. They can be harmful on one hand. Maybe they look good, but they have some caveats. And if we don't have this technical expertise, we're doomed. Yeah, but engineers can now create tech debt of at least 50 engineers. Also true, can even be, I think, 100 and more, depends. So this is about the spaghetti, right? If you don't have a good guidelines and AI is not controlled, the application maybe work on one shot, is good like for some prototypes, POCs, but if you want to debug or extend this application, I wish you good luck. But I don't say it's not possible, but it's just a bit harder, and you need to have to know what to look for. Yeah, my project became too big for Claude. No, that has to digest. So this is like another limit. The context window, especially like, even if they claim they have like 1 million tokens of context, very often it's not true. I think this is marketing. LMs are very often like losing what were the previous decisions, are not able to find the information without like the very long prompt, or just gonna take too many operations like to get what you want. So the more precise we are, the better for the outcome. Yeah, and first about bill. Yeah, I think whenever payments are involved, you need to be very, very careful, unless you're gonna learn the hard way. Okay, nobody is perfect. I want to try this vibe coding, because okay, we assume that this avatar that looks weirdly similar to me at some point, want to try vibe coding. Okay, and I made the app called the Prompt AI. This is a true app. I recommend you to take a look. This is one of my hobby projects where I just was playing with the models where you can run the prompts like side by side, compare the results. Very useful if you want to do experiments with all those kinds of models and prompts. Yeah, and I want to rebuild it because it was done the old way, the old-fashioned way, the boring one, like outdated. I want to be less complex, and so I want to ship features faster, right? Just ask AI to, I want new feature, and now it's done. Yeah, sure, what would you like to change? So if it's a wish list of mine, I think I shouldn't limit myself, right? Because AI should be capable of doing almost anything. So maybe let's try it from scratch. Yeah, improve accessibility, implement interrelation. I want themes, because I always wanted, but took a lot of time to build. Test coverage should be there. I hate write tests for my hobby projects, but if it's by AI, it comes for free, good idea. What else we know? Mobile first would be great. My app don't support mobile first because it's not many users on mobile for this kind of app, but if it's for free again, why not? And what my assistant is suggesting? He's suggesting, yeah, so issues, no, vibe coding. So he wants to try something new because I taught this assistant for some time and he knows exactly like what we can face. We've been there, we've seen the problems, so he's smarter. This assistant of mine is like level beyond, he's learning. Okay, so the first plan, doesn't look simple. Because vibe coding at first glance is supposed to solve the problems with single prompt, with speaking, talking. Maybe it sometimes can, but just to be safe, and from my experience, I want to come to this battle prepared. And this preparation is not free. It's very complicated. So if I want to rebuild the app, I can apply to a new app as well. So first of all, let's analyze what we need to do. Let's ask maybe what technology we should use. If we know, that's better. If no, like most of those designers and product managers that want to be new founders, they have problems. They need to rely on the AI having like outdated news, entirely. So next, I want like to have a very detailed implementation plan for all the aspects. Because I want to start with scaffolding the project, and I want to do it phase by phase, just to limit the scope, the size of the context that AI will need to digest. This way, if we like target, I mean, this AI with a specific plan, with a detailed plan, we have higher chances to get what we want. But in order to do it, we need this expertise. We need to we need to know those things exist. We can ask AI to come up with the plan, but it's the same like doing everything, letting him to do it itself. Okay, generating. Okay, this is like some artifacts are getting generated. During this presentation, we don't have much time to go into all the details. I want to just scratch the surface here. So some examples, because I'm like a big fan of those markdown instructions, documentations that I create along my vibe coding before, during, and after. Also found it very interesting, to add those check marks, to-do fashion, items to the list. So whenever AI complete the part, I ask it to mark it as completed. So sometimes, the agent has breaks in the middle of operation. You don't know what has happened, what not. Those check marks are easier, letting you track the progress. Or if you need a pause, you need to go back, you need to go sleep, for instance. Then you can come back and know more or less where it has been, where it finished last time. On the top left corner, you can see some files, markdown files that were generated, because as I mentioned, very often I start with the single file, because this is easier to review, because the manual review is very involved into the project. Again, I need the expertise. I need to know what I'm expecting. Even if maybe I'm not writing a single line of code here, because the vibe coding by itself, I think the definition is not clear, it's evolving. So it's more like the beginning of the journey for vibe coding. It starts with let us just give a prompt and AI do the stuff. I just take a part of it, I add my expertise in the middle of the process, and the results are much better. I boost my productivity, and I learn a lot, because AI is suggesting many things that I never thought about. For instance, using this a plan for the theming themes. I just want dark and light. Just why not? But then AI suggested, what about OLED one? What about high contrast? OLED one, what is the OLED one? Because if you use a 000, for the black color, it's better supported on the OLED devices. I never knew that. Who knows? So I learned something. High contrast, I wouldn't implement it by myself. But if you want to be accessible, and it can come up with the good colors by itself, which the AI did for me, based on some colors, initial ones, and it proposed opposite, light and dark themes for myself. I just give it the colors I had from my previous version of the application, which was entirely dark theme. Results were pretty satisfying, to be honest. Yeah, so I end up with a bunch of the files. Okay, are we done? Are we done? Not really. It's still some points left to be done. So if we want this new application or a revamped application to be easy to extend, to ship those features faster as intended, we need to prepare. So the first preparation was just to make a ground. Now we need the tools, we need the weapons. So personally, after some experiments, I came up with this a minimal list of documents I need. So first of all, coding standards, which includes just regular stuff which I would expect from the coding standards. So what kind of, if it's for TypeScript, is it types or interfaces, tabs versus spaces, and so on. Some things could be handled by ESLint, for instance, and I would encourage to let ESLint do its job, because the less things we add to the context of the AI, the better. So put only the things that matter and that are really hard to be auto-fixed with the ESLint or Prettier. That's one recommendation. UI components guideline. Why do I need it? I don't know, maybe I'm biased towards those, because I found it really useful if I have defined set of components that can reuse across the app with the shared functionality, styling, makes developing application much simpler. So instead of creating those divs with the inline style every time, let's create those components once at the beginning and can review them, ideally within the storybook, why not? Isolated, easy to spot any differences. You can add more stuff like visual regression testing if you really want to. Testing guidelines. Why do we need tests? And this is like a good point here for with the agents, vibe coding. I think tests are essential because every time you run a prompt, the AI can go wild, can start changing things you didn't intend to. You can like deliberately ask it to don't make any changes in the test files. Don't make any changes apart from this code you are about to modernize. But this is like sometimes agents misbehave, don't listen to you. Things like it thinks better than you. Maybe it knows, maybe not, but at least I think we, as we pay for those tokens, we should be in the control. And the last but not least, prompts, generic prompts. So I have also a list of prompts, like for generating new component, generating new storybook, generating new test, generating specific implementation plan. It sounds like a lot, but when you have it, it's really gonna be a drastic change for you. Because then if you want to add a new feature, you just write the prompt. Okay, for instance, implement me a new radio button. Or maybe something more complex, some dialogue for sign up. And then you just add the context, the guidelines, like so you can add the UI component guideline, you can add some coding standards, you can just drag and drop different stuff, and basically you're good. The results you're gonna get will be more predictable. If you have some examples, that also would be nice to add to the context. If you have a template, that's even better. So the more things you have prepared, you can just add it to the context. And every time you add a new component and you see something that could be useful to add the guidelines, just ask AI, like update the documentation guidelines with the new findings, with the decisions we made together, because you're gonna talk with the AI on the chat anyway, trying to refine the prompts, the results. So yeah, endless possibilities here, but you need to be aware what's going on. Very often, at the beginning, happened to me that I trusted AI too much. Like it did once something good, and okay, now improve it. I didn't check the results. Do something else. Yeah, I thought, okay, looks good in the code, more or less. Go on. If I went crazy, it was very late in the night, and I wasn't thinking the way I should. I was running like two IDs next to each other. One was like a cursor, another was windsurf. In the cursors, I have even multiple tabs. So I was switching between those windows, asking every window, every chat a different prompt, different thing to work on a different part of the application, because it allowed me to speed up the process. This way, like instead of waiting for one prompt, like 5 minutes, 15 minutes, I could immediately jump from one to the other that was already finished. The cursor has a very neat settings that allows you to play the sound when it's done. So I recommend this like a must-have, the best thing in the cursor. So this presentation, I think, could be also only about this one point, and it would be worth the money. Okay, move on. Finally, let's implement something, please. Please, I'm done with the preparation. Oh no, I need to do something else. Oh, maybe I need to change the job. It's not fun. I think coding is more fun, maybe slower, maybe less productive, but if your boss pay you for it, don't complain. And yeah, maybe try to do both. And this is basically what I do. I have like times where I only vibe code or do things like this. And then sometimes I just have a time dedicated to program. So I turn off all those stuff. I go back to IntelliJ. And then I do the real coding, right? Not disturbed. And then I go back again to agents if I need to do some boilerplate stuff, boring stuff, which does take my time. Yep. So what is the interesting here? Yeah, verify. You need to verify each line. So this is like a code review. For the last few years, I am working as a staff engineer, and this is basically very similar to my work. I mostly review the code. I less often write the code. And so if you are on a similar position or role, it will not change a lot. The only difference is that you cannot argue that much, and AI sometimes can outsmart you. And it's a really difficult topic, how you can convince AI to make a change or not. I think it's missing the people factor here. Okay, run up locally, check if it works as expected. I mentioned before, you can check it manually, storybook, test as well. Run agent Rust ESLint, tests, and try to fix all errors. Very, I think, nice practice. Very often it will do it automatically, like checking the ESLint errors and fix it, but sometimes you need to ask it. Like for TypeScript errors, I needed to ask it like exactly run tsc -b and fix all errors. It took some time, a couple of iterations, but yeah, it helped me a lot with those kind of work. Ask agents to scan code for security vulnerabilities. Important point, depends on what type of application you're working on. But again, you need some knowledge. You need to know if it's like a false positive, is it important? Because if you have no idea about security, it's better do nothing. I mean, or rely on the AI entirely. Up to you. You're gonna introduce exploits anyway. If all looks good, yeah, ask AI to update docs for future references. Also mentioned, your docs instruction prompts should be stay up to date. If you want to vibe code this way, in using this approach, you will be maybe sad, but you will do your work. I mean, depends. Maybe we'll get used to it. It's like a big paradigm shift, in my opinion, the way the software development can work now. So over? Yeah. Maybe I can very speed up. So this is like a diagram, what the process looks like. Use AI to generate diagrams, by the way. That's very neat and simple. Okay, I wasn't expecting generate. I need to speed up, so sorry. AI doesn't work so fast. Okay, this is like a one shot, something I got from the vibe coding. In the storybook, it just was able to create this kind of design tokens explorer. Very neat, to be honest. I would never do it this detailed. Dark theme, work nice, some spacing. Yeah, and buttons, looks great. Out of the box, right? I didn't ask for it, and it gave me so many good variants. Yeah, the last slide. So, yeah, I believe that maybe it's not the vibe coding you were hoping for. Same for me, but at least you are in control. Generated code is more predictable, so less surprises. All AI handles all the boilerplate. Good. Yeah, you are still needed. So don't worry. We are still needed in this industry. Thank you.
I apologize for 1, 2, 3. Yep, is it good? Yep, I think it is. Yeah, I apologize for cutting off because we have quite a few lightning talk speakers,
I know.
but fantastic job. Maybe we could have a time for... Yeah, a couple of quick ones maybe, very quickly.
Thanks for a great talk. Just a quick question by documentation. I think you were referring to cursor rules and memory banks.
Not explicitly cursor, because you don't need to use cursor for vibe coding. You can. Cursor rules is a good thing, but cursor rules should be really small. Like I think up to 500 lines max.
But many files.
Many
files, yeah. As many as you want, and with their description and everything.
That's right. But I was more referring to like project documentation. Why there are some decisions? How does it work together? So it's easier to find whatever you want. Like for instance, for the UI components, I created a dedicated document with some mermaid diagram. Like was allow you to find the exact one you need based on the needs. So it check like do you need like a controlled, uncontrolled? Do you need I don't know, some states or not states? And there was like a okay, I need this component. So much easier to find a good one. But cursor rules, yeah, I didn't mention. That's a must. I mean, take your time to configure them the way you want.
Thank you. And a quick, tiny one. Have you tried Taskmaster for like?
Yeah, very briefly. I mean,
you know, you're not getting more licenses.
That's. I mean,
Taskmaster is free. You just use your Anthropic API key. So
yeah, they released I think second version recently. Good to try.
Okay, just one. I think I saw that hand over there first. I apologize. It's yes. Thank you.
Hi. Thank you for the topic. So my question is a short one. Who will be responsible for the code of line? Developer, regulators, or the company?
For the code? Oh, sorry,
for the code of line. Line of code. Sorry.
Okay. I think it's always the engineer who commit the code, in my opinion. Because even if you take it from Stack Overflow, I mean, you own it, you need to check it. I mean, but what can go wrong with the code? I mean, ideally there should be some code review process, but anyway, I think it's always on the engineer, because why company should? There's no way like for them to track what you're doing I mean, we don't want any supervisors checking our codes more than needed. I mean, I don't know if I answered your questions. If that's what you were meaning.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
What is your opinion on test-driven development in terms of vibe coding? If you write the test yourself, but vibe code the implementation?
Yeah, no, to be honest, I was thinking about it some time ago, a few days ago. And personally, I'm not a big fan of TDD. I see the value, but with the AI, I think it's like it's not a good match, because when you do, you need to refine it many times. The outcome of the AI, you need to refine the test as well. Depends maybe on the specifics. If it's a very like a logic-oriented feature, yeah, maybe. But if you're talking about UI, I would suggest to experiment by yourself, because the entire ecosystem AI thinks it's new and we should experiment as much as possible. Like, there is no good answer here, I think. It depends what you prefer, what you like. Didn't work for me.
Thank you so much for your talk. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Warsaw.